Megan starts off this hour in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks so much for taking my call, Dave and George. How are you guys today?
Better than we deserve. What's up in your world?
Well, my husband passed away 9 weeks ago,
Oh, my.
unexpectedly. Yes, and
What happened?
he had a heart attack in the middle of the night.
Oh, my Lord. How old was he?
I'm 31, he's 50, or was 50, I guess.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have two very small children, 2 years old and 9 months old.
Mm.
And I'm just terrified. I listen to you all the time. I'm a huge fan, and I just wanted to know what advice you have for me. What mistakes do you see people make in this situation, and what do I need to do? I'm at a loss.
Mhm.
What decisions are you needing to make right now?
Well, the life insurance, which thankfully we had, just came in yesterday. So need to decide what to do with that, and
How much was
need to
that?
decide what to do. That's 800.
800. Okay. And do you have a house?
Yes, I have a house that I can't stand right now, as you can imagine.
Mm.
So
And what is it worth?
it's worth about 700. We owe about 400 on it.
Okay. All right. So let me kind of give you a general principle that we all use here, and then we can back in out of that and into that for, you and I and George can to figure out what some of your best ideas are. Okay.
Okay.
When you go through something like this, particularly something that is, when you go through losing someone, particularly suddenly and tragically, unexpectedly, uh, your brain, no one's brain, functions at full capacity in the middle of heavy grief.
Mm.
Okay, and so you got this fog. I mean, Sharon and I've been married 40 years. If something happened to Sharon, my brain wouldn't work good for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep,
so, and
absolutely.
it doesn't mean I'm dumb. It doesn't mean I have a bad brain. It just means that in the middle of this kind of trauma, is the worst possible time to make major decisions if you can avoid making major decisions. Is that logical?
Yes.
So, for instance, I wouldn't go on some kind of big campaign to become a professional investor with $800,000 right now. You're 31 years old with two little babies, and and you just had this horrible thing happen. And so I always tell people, if you can, let's just put that in a CD and park it for 6 months and cry.
Okay.
I'm not making any decisions for 6 months. I'm just going to cry and let the fog of grief go by, because grief comes in waves. I mean, you'll be going along, everything's fine, and all of a sudden it just hits you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some
Absolutely.
some silly smell or noise or something that, triggers your brain, triggers a memory, and it just hits you, and you don't even see it coming. And you don't want to make a $800,000 investment decision in the middle of that. So, if you can, let's do nothing.
Okay.
That's first thing. Now, doing nothing is not possible because you got to eat, keep the lights on. You've got to figure out, do you have an income? Do you work?
I've taken leave from work since this has happened.
Okay. What were you
So
doing?
no. I was a personal assistant.
Okay. And what were you making?
65.
Okay.
He was the breadwinner,
I got it.
the main breadwinner.
Okay. All right. And if you make decisions, let's try to make decisions that can be undone. Okay. Let me give you an example. Okay. It might be okay to sell the house if you want out, if you just can't stand the place right now. I take it he passed away at home?
Yeah, in our bed.
Mm.
Yeah. And so just walking around that house is icky, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying. I can't stand this house.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what you said, yeah. So it's okay to move. However, moving is emotionally traumatic too.
Mm.
With two babies, dadgum right. Everything you do is emotionally traumatic. But
Yes, sir.
But I don't think I would go buy a $700,000 house today. So if I did anything, I would just sell and go find something to rent. And, it's my crying spot for 6 months or a year. I'm going to sit here for a year, and then later I'm going to make a decision on where I want to live.
Okay.
But I don't think you're in I would not be in the state of mind to make a decision on where I want to live for the next 5 years.
Right.
So if you want to dump the house, that's something that the only downside of that is you can't get that house back.
Right.
But you can get another house later. If you just go, okay, the chances of me wanting to live here 5 years from now is almost zero, and the chances of me wanting to live here 5 days from now is zero. So I'm done with this thing. We're tapping out on it. So now I don't have 800. Now I got $1.2 million to sit in a CD while I just rent and go back to work and pay my bills, or pull enough off the $1.2 million to quit your job and start a new job a year from now, and just set aside a salary, set aside $100,000 to live on for a year. Okay. But what you don't want to get into then is grief spending, which is medicating the pain with buying stuff. So you set yourself on like you say, okay, here's an amount of money I'm not going to touch. Like if we did that, if we sold the house and you said you got $400,000 equity, right?
Yes.
Okay. Plus 800 is $1.2 million. Following me?
Yes, sir.
You rent. You don't have any other debt, right?
No, sir.
Okay. And you just put yourself in park mode so you can heal. Give yourself some margin to heal. And then a year from today, we decide what you decide what your career is. A year from today, based on your new career, you decide what house you want to buy.
Okay.
And you say, out of that $1.2 million, I'm going to set aside $100,000 over here, and that's going to be my salary, $8,000 a month for 1 year, and I have no payments except a rent payment. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
And you don't touch the other $1.1 million for anything. Don't tell me you found something in the middle of your grief that you have to do, because there's no such thing.
Okay.
You follow me? Because I've seen
Yes,
people
sir.
burn through this, and I've seen them make dumb decisions, trying to be stiff upper lip, trying to be strong, in a time when you shouldn't even be trying to be strong. You should just cry.
Move slow and just grieve.
Yeah.
So sorry, Megan.
Yeah, it's awful.